because I can't for the life of me imagine why that would have happened. So I noted with some interest that the Member of Parliament for Northwest St. Catherine, Damion Crawford, has been removed from Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, the PAAC. And I understand by what I saw that he's supposed to be replaced by Dr. Alfred Dawes. Kevin, in Cliff Hughes Online at the bottom, the leader of the government business in the House, Floyd Green, made the revelation. Here's Mr. Green.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that at the next meeting of the House, I will move the following motion. Be it resolved with reference to the resolution approved by this Honourable House on October 21, 2025, appointing a Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, that the name Damion Crawford be removed from the membership of the committee, and that the name Alfred Dawes be substituted thereof. Madam Speaker,
Now, not surprisingly, the government MPs made heavy weather of the unusual move. They chanted that they want Damion.
I don't know if you can allow me to participate.
Madam Speaker, I further beg to give notice.
It depends on what you want him for. Members, the House is a serious place, so are you asking for a vote, and are you asking for a divide, or are you playing around?
We don't reach. No.
Nationwide is reporting that Crawford voluntarily, that's what we've been told by sources, voluntarily removed himself from the committee. But of course, reasonable people can be forgiven for questioning whether there's some link between yesterday's move in the House and this exchange between Messrs. Bunting and Crawford at a recent PAAC meeting.
Madam Speaker, I further beg to give notice.
All right, no, Kevin. So go into the second story in Cliff Hughes Online. It's the second clip that I want.
I don't know if you can allow me to participate in the committee, but I find that you consistently answer the questions I'm trying to understand.
I have to maintain a balance.
I understand the balance, but it appears to have the answer.
It's difficult to ask the PS to comment on
well, Chairman.
arrangement.
That sounded tense. Yeah. And you very rarely in Parliament, for as long as I've been watching the proceedings, you very rarely see the opposition members bickering among themselves as to who should ask questions, how long those questions should be, because the practice has been that the parliamentary opposition uses the sittings of these committees to advance their position, yeah, to hold the government to account as they should, yeah, to show up the government. So it raised our eyebrows when we saw them bickering. Crawford seemingly annoyed that the chairman, Peter Bunting, kept cutting him off as he saw it, not allowing him to finish his questions. So I'm wondering, what's the cause of all of this? Because it's strange that one of the better performing MPs on the opposition side so far this parliament, Damion Crawford, and he has been, is being removed or removing himself from a committee that is important to government oversight. He has been effective, I think. He has applied himself. I notice his contributions are more sober. He's not displaying sort of the usual hubris, sort of tricks you kind of thing that, has become associated with him. He's been much more measured and studied. And I remember wondering out loud whether he was seeking to repackage and rebrand himself for something bigger now that he holds a seat in the lower house and therefore would be constitutionally eligible for another post. So, is he being punished? I'm wondering out loud, for doing his job well. Who would be threatened by a high-performing and effectively performing Damion Crawford? Who would be threatened by that? And why would they be threatened by that? Because, from my mind, a united opposition, as the People's National Party says it is, would want to put forward its best and its brightest soldiers, on the front lines of oversight and accountability. And because in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, there will be need for a lot of that oversight and accountability. And there will be need and space for the opposition to do what opposition parties have done in this country. When government has a lot to do and, a lot of fronts to hold down, oppositions usually get to shine. And as I said, the PAAC is one such place that they get to shine. So why wouldn't the People's National Party, the parliamentary opposition, want Damion Crawford to be at the fore of that? Don't you find that strange? And we tried to reach him last evening. We didn't get to Mr. Crawford. Why would he feel that he needed to remove himself after having accepted the appointment? And as I said, certainly the sittings I've seen so far that he's participated in, he was doing well. Does he feel pressured in some way? Does he feel that there's somebody trying to clip his wings? Or a group of people trying to do that? And again, you have to ask yourself, why would they be trying to do that? It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder whether this front of unity is real. The PNP meets for conference when? September. And I've been trying to recall, I know they passed a constitutional amendment that insulated their party president from challenge. I think it was every 2 years. He couldn't be challenged. It was after 2 years. This September would be that 2-year mark, no? No pun intended there. Mr. Golding would be open to a challenge this September? Or is it next September? It'll be next year? No, man, I think it was passed before the election. I know I'm talking to Nora listeners, but we can check. We can check to be sure. And if that is the case, if he is open to a challenge in September, are there people afraid that Mr. Crawford, shining too brightly in the parliament, possibly drawing attention to himself, that he needs to be humbled? I mean, Peter Bunting certainly thought so at that sitting of the PAAC where he told him, listen, no, questions too long. Yeah, carry on too much. So I have to cut that out. But again, why? Why wouldn't you want one of the better performing ones to shine? And then it made me wonder whether Mr. Bunting has given up when he challenged Dr. Phillips and gave it his all, and Dr. Phillips still prevailed? Was that the last that we saw of his ambition to lead the People's National Party? Mr. Bunting is known to be a well-off man, comfortable man. And I remember reading somewhere that when you have reached a level of comfort in terms of wealth, the only other thing you need is power. So, has that ambition died? And how does his very good friend Mark Golding, feel about that ambition? Mr. Golding had his run, and he gave it his all. He certainly did. Nobody can deny that. But Andrew Holness proved too much for him to overcome. So, does Mr. Bunting fancy himself capable of doing what Mr. Golding couldn't? And if he does fancy himself capable, who would stand in his way? Who would be the person most likely to thwart that ambition, to thwart that aspiration to power? I suggest to you that in all likelihood, should things unfold, and this is my imagined world now, this is just my imagined world, but I invite you into my imagined world. Should things unfold in the way I see them in my imagined world, the person most likely to stand in that path is a scene in The Lord of the Rings. It was Gandalf. He said, "This far shall you come, and no further. You shall not pass." Damion Crawford would be that person, the Member of Parliament for Northwest St. Catherine. So, are they trying to dim the shine? Clip his wings? Keep him in place? Just questions in my imagined world. You can sit in my imagined world for a little while longer and think about it. I'm up on a break.